Hi, I'm Julius, 37.
And I'm Mars, 40.
I live in Germany with my wife, our 2 sons, and our 2 dogs.
And I live in the Netherlands with my wife, our son, and our dog.
We are both entrepreneurs together with our wives.
And next to that, I am also employed.
We live very busy lives with very few spare time.
So we need to make sure we get the most out of our days.
We want to live healthy, develop ourselves,
And challenge ourselves.
and together with that, we want to be good husbands.
And a fun dad.
And that's why we're sticking to a strict regime.
For 75 consecutive days.
Welcome to Fatherly Grit, thriving through 75 hard. Yes, 1 week in, 7 days. Actually, it's Sunday. Welcome to the next episode. Mars, thanks for joining.
Yes, welcome listeners.
I think when you re-listen to the last episode, how you feel about it?
Quite good, actually. Quite good. But I think in the beginning, I stressed a bit too much that I was energetic. I was super energized. But yeah, no, and you happy with it?
Yeah, I feel like we gave everyone good insights in what's going to happen over the next 75 days. And whoever is listening to this and haven't listened to the first episode, we are going to put the summary of our challenge list in the show notes, because I feel like repeating all the time what we're doing and what's happening, I think it will come naturally when we talk about our days or review the last week. But if you want the full details, just check out the show notes and you can read it there. So we save everyone's time, especially for the people who are already listened to the other episodes.
Exactly. And we can use that time for the things that we find interesting.
Right. So getting right into it, Mars, how you doing?
I'm doing good. My body is a bit sore though. In the previous episode, I mentioned, I think that I didn't work out for 3.5 months. I'm starting to feel that now. So I already knew this from like before we started this. So that's why I do the yoga mobility as a workout as well. 40 years old. My body needs the rest. My body needs the stretching. During COVID, I started training at home and I always neglected the stretching afterwards. And I didn't do any mobility. And I think after half a year or something, like my complete back, my ass muscle, my gluteus maximus and my hamstrings, they got so tight that my back was fucked. And there was one day that Yosha had to drive me to a physiotherapist. I was laying in the back of the car and I had to walk on crutches to get in there. So I want to prevent that kind of situation again.
Yeah, you're not 20 anymore.
Definitely not.
But we're going to come to that in a couple of minutes.
And you? How is your body? You said something about a stiff back.
Yeah, it's fine. I think working out twice a day, and if you're still like this whole walking thing is not a particular heavy workout, but with my damaged ankle and the pressure on my ankles there, I definitely feel it. And especially yesterday when I got up in the morning and got out, I was planning to ride my bike, but it's still super slippery outside with like the combination of leftover snow and rain. I thought, okay, I'm not going to risk break my bones. So I went for the 45 minutes walk and I felt it. And the other thing was I think I was planning to do a yoga session on Wednesday. Interestingly, together with my son, I asked him if he wanted to join me and he said, yeah, why not? And I had to stop after like 5 minutes because I got ridiculously cramping feet and cramping. my feet started cramping sitting and stuff. So I had to stop and I switched into the stretching routine for 20 minutes. And then I did a core workout and I upped my magnesium intake there. So that was the biggest learning of that week. Yeah. Aside of that, should I check in on the items with the highlights of the week?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't face any issue at all. So I read my 10 pages. I can still Circadian Code, Search and Panda is an amazing book. I actually did read more than that because it's super interesting and covers so much from like the whole fasting perspective and the whole influence of light on your daily routines, blue light especially, and the use of like media and all this stuff. It's an amazing book, and I already linked it in the show notes the last time. I will do it obviously again. That was super interesting.
You sent me the link of the Huberman Lab podcast with him, with Sachin Panda. And one of the things that I found very interesting is that he said it takes very few actually to get off your circadian clock, or to, like, get out of the rhythm. And then he told something about, there was a study with a couple of people that were sent out camping, and during that camping weekend trip, they had to live according to the sun. When the sun was rising, they would get up, and if the sun went down, they would, slowly start going to bed. And that the effect of switching back to the circadian clock like that actually had a long-lasting effect. He didn't mention how long. Maybe he mentions it in the book, but I found that very interesting, that it's like you can easily hack it to get back into the rhythm, it seemed.
Yeah, I think you could start, and I try to get back on my good sleep schedule. And interestingly, I started going to bed earlier, and I'm still at an average of 6.5 hours for sleep. But after 6.5 hours, I woke up naturally. So all week I woke up before my alarm got off, and I got up. I avoided staying in bed and just reading or stuff like that, because I then decided, okay, let me get up and get my body going. And I got down to the kitchen, then sit down there and read there, instead of just laying in bed. And I feel like that was better than just staying in bed and reading, for example, in the morning.
And does the book say anything about what is, I don't know, the minimum required hours of rest?
7 would be ideal, but I have, maybe it will take some time, I think, to get there.
Yeah.
From a workout perspective, I just come back from the gym, so I was able to go to the gym 4 times this week. It was a little bit challenging around the whole workout situation, because my youngest son was sick for 3 days at home, and time management is key. But when you have a small child who needs full attention, and I had to take care of him, or more likely all day, that was a little bit difficult. But yeah, I figured it out at some point.
How did you figure it out?
Don't ask me how. I got up really early, got the first workout in, and then I desperately waited for my wife to come home so I can kind of go to the gym. And
you were off duty.
Yeah, so she can take over at least for an hour for me to... She's home normally between like 6 and 7, so she can bring the kids to bed, so she can at least spend some time there, because that's important to her. Pictures. I got on the scale this morning, so it's not important for me, to be honest, because I don't want to... I think that's difficult for me kind of mentally, but I lost 2.5 pounds over the last week.
Wow.
Don't know.
That's good.
I think it's a lot of water, to be honest. With all kind of the heavy water intake we have now with 3.8 liters, that's a lot.
So this is probably something that over a longer time period of time, you can say something about it. You have such a weighing machine that also weighs, like, measures how much muscle, how much fat, etc.
It does, and it's a really good scale. So I'm going to measure that over the next couple of weeks. But again, that's not what I'm intending to do. It's a nice like side effect, and I'm going to do, because I'm so numbers heavy here.
Really?
That I'm going to go on the scale every day just to document it, but that's not the main purpose why I'm doing that. Again, having a small kid being sick for 3 days was more likely the biggest challenge this week, kind of to work around it and make sure I get everything in. But I didn't miss a beat, so proud of that. First 7 days in. 68 days to go.
Hey, you mentioned in the previous episode that your wife is back into working out as well, 2 nights a week. Was that an issue with, like the schedule being messed up because of a sick child, or?
No, that she's going to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that didn't. And it's just an hour, so my gym is open till 11, and I go later, or I'm just going on a walk or whatever. And I worked out so Thursday and Friday, I was in the gym at noon. So I went to the office first, and then I left a little bit more early, went to the gym, and then picked up the kids. So that was nice as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you have that flexibility as an entrepreneur.
yeah, more likely from time to time. So what about you?
As mentioned in the previous episode, this week was a bit different from my regular weeks. At the end of the week, on Friday, we had a party. A friend of ours turned 40. He rented out a small bar, and we had to go there. It was an hour drive to go and back. So that was the evening. And then on Saturday, I was going to meet up with two of my best friends. I had to drive 1 hour 45 to get there. Then we're going to do like activity, dinner, have, like a drink somewhere, and then go back again. So that took out huge chunks of my, of those days. And on top, we spontaneously got invited by my parents-in-law. They live about 15 minutes from us by foot, to have dinner on Thursday. So yeah, it was a bit of a hectical week. I'm someone who really likes to know his schedule and then wants to stick to it and has difficulties when he can't. But yeah, I try to be as flexible as possible there. Sometimes I have a little error in my head, but you mentioned it last time, like planning, that's key. And I figured early hours and late hours are the best moments where it doesn't touch anything with my work, with our family time, with Siggy, and with obviously Frankie, our dog that needs to be walked. So I tried every day to get up around 5:45, 6 o'clock and get either a workout in or do my reading in the morning, which was fine, which was really nice. Then, like you're fully awake as soon as the kid wakes up, and, like you're energetic, you're not grumpy. So that was really nice. And on Thursday, the dinner at the in-laws was really fun because our kid went to bed there, and then we spontaneously decided to play some board games. It turned out to be late. We walked back home, I think, around midnight, and then I still had to do my 45-minute mobility workout.
Wow. Yeah. Welcome to my world, Mars. So you know
Exactly.
what's going on there. But I was wondering how, because you said you're going to want to do somewhat of a fasting regimen. Over those 3 days, were you able to get a hold of that, or did you have to adjust?
Yeah. So I decided every 2 or 3 days to lengthen the time restricted eating time from 12 to 16 hours. As mentioned before, my blood glucose level seems to be a bit high, and intermittent fasting is one of the ways that could get it down. Once again, disclaimer, I'm not a medical person. I have no medical background, so don't take any of my points here as an advice or whatsoever. I always thought that 16 hours of not eating is hard. You'll wake up hungry, and actually it was fine. It's a mental thing.
It's a complete mental thing. I agree. Even going longer.
Yeah, I'll tell you the story here. I woke up at 6 o'clock. I went for a run at 7. I was back, had to take a shower, get my kid out of bed together with my wife, get him dressed, bring him to the daycare, go for a walk with the dog for an hour, start my work. I had meetings from 9 till 10:30, no issues whatsoever. 10:30, my meeting was over, and I was sitting there and I felt like the saliva in my mouth coming up, and I was like, oh, I want to have my oatmeal. My overnight oats is in the fridge. I want to have it. I want to have the curry that is left over from yesterday. And the last hour was horrible.
Yeah, I think you're going to readjust here. More like the inspiration of you. I talked about doing alternative day fasting, and I readjusted that a bit just to get used to it. And I did, I think, on average, like a 20-hour fast every day, and have like
Every day.
4-hour window of eating. It will not take much time.
No, and I thought that as soon as you can eat, you're going to eat everything in your eyesight. But it turns out you don't. I mean, we eat healthy. We eat like fresh food. And you just eat. And then at a certain point, your body says, okay, now it's enough.
Yeah.
And that point was actually quicker than I expected it to be.
Yeah. It's interesting. I experienced completely the same.
Yeah.
I can't overeat anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
My body is definitely telling me, okay, take a break, dude.
But I feel that if you do not eat the healthy food, not fresh food, but you get the produced food from like bags of crisps or whatsoever,
Yep.
you'll eat more and more and more, way too much.
Yeah, that's true. I think, and it comes down to bread as well, and all this stuff. All the more highly processed stuff will impact
Yep.
that. So we already covered your workouts. What about the mindfulness stuff? You told me in the first episode that you're potentially going to do it with your wife. But when you're out on Saturday, for example, how were you able to manage that?
Let me go back to Thursday, the night with the in-laws, because it was actually fun. We spoke about this entire challenge there, and they were very interested in some of the topics, and the mindfulness topic was also one of them. We actually did a mindfulness exercise together with them.
That's cool.
So
yeah, nice.
So the four of us sat at the dinner table afterwards, drinking a coffee, and we just spoke about the nice things of our days, what can we improve, what are we happy about with ourselves. So that was really nice to do all together. On Saturday, I did it in the car ride back home.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have anything to write it down, but we don't write it down anyways. I think for me, it's not something that I need to read it back at a later stage.
Sort your thoughts and just be thankful and figure out what's good, what could have been better. Yeah, cool. And partying without drinks?
There's an interesting one. So that was Friday. My wife, she drank because she's not doing the challenge.
Yeah.
I said, go ahead, sweetie, you've deserved it. We have our holiday now, very long waited for. And I was just drinking a 0.0 beer and another 0.0 beer and another. And I was talking to a friend of mine there, and she asked me about this challenge. And I was like, yeah, and this, what is part of it? Also a 12-hour fasting. And she's like, but you're drinking a 0.0 beer. And I was like, oh, whoa.
Calories.
I completely forgot about it. And luckily it was at 11:30. So I had to prolong my...
extend your window.
Reschedule my breakfast. But these are the small things that where a habit kicks in. You're at a party, you're thinking, okay, no alcohol, easy, I'll do it. But I never realized that obviously you can only stick to water, tea, or coffee.
Boring as fuck.
Yeah, well, the evening after I went to with my two friends.
Yeah.
And we searched for a really good restaurant beforehand already. I checked the menu if there's things on there that I can eat as well. So it was perfect. There was a vegan burger, there was beetroot salad, there was carrot salad. So
nice.
Everything, it was very fresh, very nice. And then afterwards they shared a nice tiramisu. And then there I was with my coffee. And then we went to a bar to have, like another drink and chat. And, we haven't spoken to each other in this setting for a long time. And there we were, three guys in their 40s ordering ginger tea. So this lady came with a tray with 3 ginger teas.
Yeah.
And she was looking around, and then she came to us and she was like, are these 3 teas for you guys? So yeah, but no issue there. It's
okay, cool. Yeah, but that's part of the challenge, I feel like.
Yeah, there's also the awareness about what is fasting, what is good for your body, what is healthy, etc.
Did you felt like you're missing out?
No, not at all.
Cool.
Not at all. I mean, I felt exactly the same as I would if I were drinking a couple of beers. Obviously not the buzz. And the next morning I felt super fit and my body thanked me for staying sober.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think when you're together with friends, they will respect you for who you are. And I find this sentence like, oh, you're not drinking? Why? Why are you not drinking? Why aren't you going to be fun and drink with us? It's like, it's such a weird sentence. And back in the days, but in the past, we used it a lot. I used it as well, but it's not from this time anymore.
And nobody asked you why you're doing that?
No.
Oh, interesting. That's
I did get a lot of, oh, wow, it's going to be heavy. And, but yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Did you, because you're drinking no alcohol for a longer time.
Yeah.
Did you have weird encounters?
Yeah, I still get shit for it from time to time. Yeah, from people. But I feel like that is more an issue for them, feeling like, okay, I'm not capable and I'm not strong-minded enough to go through with it. And it's fine. It's a habit. But I decided to quit. And yeah, but I think often it's more that people feel bad for themselves, that they're not able to do it. But it
Yeah.
is what it is. And it's my choice. And I have obviously really heavy reasons for it, why I don't drink anymore. I'm pretty sure that people will get to that point.
I think it's going to be like with smoking.
Yeah, I agree.
There are so many places now where you're not allowed to smoke anymore. And I never realized it, but when you go to a children's playground, there's all these signs like, okay, please don't smoke here. I think at a certain point, there will be these signs probably about alcohol as well.
So let us come, because we are already deep in time, and I always enjoy talking to you, and it's going to be so hard
to stick to the time.
Stick to the time. So the last time we ended the podcast, I asked you the question: what would you tell your 20-old you? Like 5 things to look out for.
Yeah.
Growing up and
yeah,
kind of becoming more mature. So
can we swear on the podcast?
For sure we can.
I would definitely tell myself, grow the fuck up. I'm what you call a person that matured at a very late age. I lived my student life where there were moments where, we were going to a family thing, a birthday of an uncle or an aunt, and then I'd go by train to the city where my parents live, get in the car with my parents, and then we drive there, and I would reek like alcohol because I was living the party student life. And I did that a bit too long, I think. But I don't regret anything. Don't get me wrong. But all jokes aside, I think one of the important things for my physique, I would tell myself to start doing a CrossFit-like training. I'm slender built. I think that's the way to put it. I'm very tall, but not very big. And when I was younger, I certainly had very few muscles. And with that, I had, I played handball, which is a very physical sport. I had a lot of injuries, a lot of times, pain in my back, pain in my legs. So I think with a CrossFit-like training, so a mix between high intensity workouts for the cardio part, weightlifting kind of things, and strength for building muscle, and gymnastics for becoming mobile and flexible, I think that would have helped me a lot. I think one of the things about the body, I would tell myself, learn all about physiology. How does the human body work? How do you need to nourish yourself? How do you need to, how does the metabolism work? All these kind of things. I think I probably know 10% about it right now, and already it gives me so many interesting insights about how to really work with my body and what is healthy for me and what is working out for me. I would tell myself to start intermittent fasting, because I used to eat until, 10 minutes before going to bed. And after waking up, I'd have bread in my mouth already. And I think maybe right now I'm dealing with the consequences of that with my higher blood glucose level. And I think the last thing is, I'd tell myself to invest in Bitcoin. No. It wasn't allowed, right?
But being financially more responsible, I think, is a good advice. And that could include look out for proper investments.
Yeah. No, I think there's one more thing, which is, I don't want to make this too heavy, but I would say learn how to be the boss of your own agenda and be able to say no.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
And I think that's something I'm an advocate for teaching that in university. And I'll tell you the reason why. When I was 30 years old, I had a job as a marketing manager on the B2B side of the football club. It was my dream job. But I was, as I just told you, I matured at a late age. I was definitely not ready for such a high pressure job and a job in a high demanding environment. I mean, football seems to be nice, but like working in football, it's highly demanding. There were a lot of politics involved as well. A lot of elbows were being thrown, and I was not ready for that. I was always saying yes to things that I was asked to do, and I was basically not boss of my own agenda. And through that, I landed in a burnout. I think a lot of people nowadays land in a burnout. Maybe the stamp burnout is being put on it a bit too quickly as well, but I want to be very careful with that. Don't want to kick anyone in the shin. But I think that if you teach students in university about this topic and how to deal with all the pressure, I think then you get a way stronger, mentally stronger next generation of employees.
I think that are all valid points. I took a more like, I don't know, mental turn here, but definitely the whole learn how to eat properly. I always worked out, but not the right way. I didn't really took much thought into it. But so my first point is definitely learn how to eat properly. And the other point is stop drinking, because you have no fucking idea. It doesn't work for you. So just stop, because you're going to miss out on so much fun based on the fact that you're going to be too drunk to remember it or do stupid stuff. So just stop, because it's not working. This is something it's not working for you. And
would you also say it because of the effects that alcohol has on the human body?
yeah. And again, alcohol is not my drug. It's not.
But hey, you realized in time.
Yeah, that's true. But I think I missed out on a lot of stuff just because of drinking. And that's just annoying. The other one is get a therapist. I feel like talking to somebody and dealing like with mental issues as early as possible and figure out, I think would have helped me a lot. And that plays into stop trying to be cool and impress people. I think I always looked for not anymore, but back in the days, I was a bit kind of looking out to impress and make sure people think I'm a cool dude, which I wasn't when I look back, but at least I tried to be. And I always looked up to people. Don't look up to people. Just be your own man and just figure the shit out.
Was it because of an uncertainty, insecurity?
Yeah, it definitely does. And not an idea where I want to head out and what my goal is for more likely. And the other thing I wrote down is be emotional available, and heartbreak is part of life. So just enjoy the moment, and when it gets down the drain, it gets down the drain. It is what it is. But don't shut people out of your life just out of pure scaredness that it could go the wrong way.
I think it's nice that you mentioned the therapist. Really nice that you mentioned it, because there's probably too much stigma around it as well.
Yeah.
Like going to a therapist is a bad thing, or then if you do it, you're broken. But a friend of mine, and if he listens to it, he knows whom I mean. He went to this coaching thing. Like I think it was something organized from his work. I'm not 100% sure. But the guy who was there, he said that him and his wife, they always go to relationship therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, not because a relationship is broken, not because it goes bad, but just think of it this way. Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, they're the best at what they do. They're the best football players maybe ever. They still go to training every single day and work on technique, work on everything to get better.
Yeah.
And it's like a therapist.
Yeah. And I feel like that helps a lot. And so take it from body, do that. Therapy is good. But you need to find the right person to talk to, obviously.
Yeah.
And to close it out, shut up about not wanting kids, because that's stupid.
Should I take this one personally?
No, I was the same, more likely. But I think when I really look back and really deep, I have my siblings and my family and my parents are still together and stuff like that. And I think back in the day, I said some things just to be cool, but from the heart, that in the situation where I am right now, that's where I wanted to be. Maybe not so the whole business thing, but from kind of a family perspective. Being married, having kids, there's nothing better. Well, I couldn't tell me when somebody has something else in mind, just let me know. But from my perspective, I hit the jackpot there. So it's a mindset thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so yeah, that are my 5 things.
Should we ask our listeners if any of them wants to share their 5 things that they want to tell their 20-year-old?
That would be interesting, and then we can review it the next time.
How can they share them with them? If it's people that we know, they can send it through WhatsApp to us. But
yeah, I'm going to put the Q&A thing up, and maybe they can write it down there if they want to, and we can review it and talk about it. That would be cool. Yeah, we are already way too deep in. We talk too much. So Mars, what's going to be expected next week?
Well, during the week, it's going to be a normal week. We're having We're having holidays, so we're not planning we're staying at home the first 2 days, tomorrow and the day after. We're going to be together with Siggy, probably going to go tomorrow to a sort of indoor playground thing. And then maybe we don't know what to do on Tuesday yet. So what I'm planning is to do early morning workout and do the reading somewhere in between when he is in bed. And over the weekend, that's going to be the exciting part or the interesting part, because my wife is going to be away for a couple of days. She's going to Paris. There is a fashion fair, leaving Saturday morning, coming back Monday evening late. So I'm going to have to juggle the dog, our kid, my challenge. And let's see how I'm going to do that. I think it's
I'm pretty sure you're going to handle it really well. So it's going to be fine, Ross. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Call me when you're lying crying down in the kitchen in a fetal position.
Yeah, I think this is something like I really need to make sure that before she leaves that I've done all the groceries, because goes so much planning into eating as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And having the food available at the right times.
Just order pizza 4 days in a row. Obviously we can't, but hey, Siggy,
and then
pizza
don't
again.
Tell.
Then don't tell.
Don't tell her.
We were so healthy.
This is actually something my wife said to me. She was like, "Okay, but you're such a person that if you're having a tough time, you're not going to share it." So, and I am such a person, to be very honest. Like when things go hard, I don't want to be the pussy. But I told myself, okay, I want to be able to always look myself in the eyes and say, hey, I've been honest here. So I'm going to be brutally honest in this podcast, even when it's going to be super tough.
I'm just going to be brutally honest in a couple of seconds and you will die laughing.
Okay, then I'm going to shut up and I'm going to ask you, hey, what do you want to share?
I'm going to end this. So I'm going to end this whole thing with the story that happened today to me. So, my week is going to be interesting. I have a couple of podcasts scheduled in the morning, but I'm potentially going to do the same workout before everyone gets up, at least for the first time. Yeah, and we have a family meeting scheduled on Saturday with the whole family, but now a couple of hours ago, I just got the news that my dad has COVID. So this is more likely on the line if it's going. So because when they are out, we potentially going to cancel it. So yeah, we have to see. Yeah, it's a kale. It's a German thing. So I try to implement like a annual meeting of the whole family where we sit together and eat like kale and potatoes and like sausage and stuff like that. Obviously, we are going to do some vegan stuff, but the rest of the family is not. Because my grandma used to host family party every year right before Christmas, where it's like kale and potatoes and stuff like that. Typical German stuff.
Is it Grünkohl and Pinkel?
Yeah, right. That's it. Yeah. And I wanted, so we did that, I think last year, and I wanted to get that back. So we see at least the full family once a year. And the cool thing is I invited my wife's family as well. So it's more likely a double family reunion. So everybody comes together.
Hey, that's cool.
So yeah, but we have to see if it's going to happen or if we're going to have to reschedule due kind of the whole COVID situation here.
Julius, now quit stalling. We all know that our listeners want to hear the story.
But one thing, we need a cliffhanger for the next episode. And I wanted to pitch you an idea what we could talk about the next time would be, what is your biggest regret?
We're gonna go bare ass here.
Just a suggestion what we could talk about next time.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think that could be interesting to talk about.
Dyeing my hair blonde, does that count?
Yeah, it does, definitely.
I definitely regret I did that.
So, you want to hear the fun part? I shit in the woods today.
Does a bear shit in the woods?
It was so terrible. I had like lentil pasta last night with like Beyond Meat and stuff like that. And I went out with the dogs for like an extended walk. And I was 20 minutes in and I was like, fuck. I have like 40 minutes left because I can't, I had like 25. If I would just turn around, so where definitely I am not going to make it home. And there were so many people there. There were so many people here. And find this exact window where it's like, okay, now I never tie the dogs on a tree and just get behind the tree line and just
No.
and I didn't have any tissues at all, so I had to use like wet leaves. I hope nobody's listening to this point, but it was that happened.
So this goes back to what Sachin Panda is talking about
Going
with
back
the
to
intermittent
nature.
fasting, the caveman.
Finding back into nature. Yeah, that was a.
Let me summarize something. In the very first episode, you compared yourself to a bodybuilder who snapped his abductor when he was walking on a slippery
I didn't
street.
compare him. I was just
And now you compare yourself to caveman.
Yeah. And I got home and I told my wife, and she was like, "Okay, you're going to shower immediately." And stop talking about it. I thought it was funny. Yeah.
We should definitely leave this in.
Yeah, I'm going to use that as a highlight video.
I think next week you're gonna, if we answer the question, what do you regret? You regret telling this story and not cutting it out.
Potentially. All right. So we're going to close this episode on a high note. For everybody who's still on and not disgusted, just shut it off. Thank you for listening in. As we said, we're going to implement a Q&A. So maybe you let us know your 5 points you would like to tell your 20-year-old. And
or what you regret.
What's your regret? And please subscribe. Tell a friend.
Yes.
And yeah, Mars, thank you very much. Really looking forward to talk to you next week. That was really fun.
Same here. And enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is that you listen to this.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.